up, guys? What's going on? I'm Paul. This is Paul Theology's Daily Devotional, and we are going through the book of John. We are in John chapter 20, verse 25 today. John chapter 20, verse 25. So if you haven't checked it out, go ahead, read it, see what it has to say, come back, and we're going to answer some questions, man. If you've already read it, let's go ahead and dive deep. This is Trust in Jesus Ministries. Here we want to help you to trust in Jesus more. And the way we do that is by reading through the scriptures, man. How better to know who God is? How better to know the person and personality of Jesus than to walk through his description of himself? See the things that he's been doing. We can read and know how he is moving and acting in this world. And that's how you get to know him better. And the more you know him, man, the more you love him. The more you love him, the more you trust him. And so that's what I'm here to do. I hope that you were trusting in Jesus more every day as we study. But as I said, let's not wait any further, man. Let's dive in and see what's going on. What's happening in John chapter 20, verse 25? That's the first question we ask, is what's happening in the scriptures. It says that Thomas wasn't with him. We talked about that in the last episode. And so when they see Thomas, the other disciples, they're like, dude, we saw the Lord, man. Jesus appeared amongst us, dude. They were like, man, he just popped up in the middle of the room while we were worshiping together, or whatever they were doing at that time. The reason I say worship is we'll talk about that in the next episode a little bit. But it's like, man, we were just kicking it, and Jesus appeared. Now, Thomas is like, bro, I ain't believing none of that. Not until I see the nails in his hands. I touch the wounds. It's like, I ain't going until I touch the wounds. Till I touch the wounds in his hands and in his side. I won't believe. I ain't gonna believe it. So this right here is not something that the other disciples didn't get the privilege to have, because they told him, we have seen the Lord. As a matter of fact, we read that in a couple of episodes ago, and it said that Jesus showed him the wounds, showed the other disciples the wounds. Thomas wasn't there. I think we said last episode, be where you're supposed to be. Thomas wouldn't have missed out if he was where he was supposed to be. All the other was there. It's talking about one of the 12 was not there. And so it implicates maybe that he was supposed to be there and wasn't for some reason. Be there, Thomas. Let us be there when we're supposed to be there. We won't miss out on the blessing. But here, he's like, I ain't going to do that unless I touch it. And so sometimes we get that doubting Thomas, I believe, is what people call it. Like, oh, he's a doubting Thomas. He don't believe. But really, he is only asking or requesting for what is already happened to the other disciples and to Mary. What we should be asking the question is, which we're going to find out later because it's going to say that they're behind locked doors, is how come the appearance of Jesus didn't change them? They need the power of the Holy Spirit, the fullness of the glorification of God for their transformation, I believe. But Thomas is only requesting what he said before. Let's talk a little bit about Thomas, man. What have we seen so far from Thomas? The other Gospels really don't say nothing except his name, but this one mentions him twice. I think the first time it mentions him, he says, let us go and die with Jesus. Kind of pessimistic, but also willing to give his life for this Lord, this God, this Jesus, his friend. And so he's not only that, we say that, but man, remember, Thomas is ready to go. He full-fledged in it, man. And so let's connect that full-fledgedness of his desire to go with God with this. I think it's a heart thing that he is so saddened, because who really is raised from the dead? You know what I'm saying? Who really is raised from the dead apart from a prophet or a Messiah doing the action? Because ain't nobody gone down there to raise Jesus. He has risen on his own power through the Holy Spirit and by the Father. And so this is like, you got to be kidding me, man. You got to be kidding me. There is no way that this is true. There is no way that this is true. So what is this saying about God? I think first off what it says is God can do the unbelievable. From the last thing I spoke about, there's no way that this is true. The mind frame of Thomas as he hears them say the Lord is alive. Man, God ain't alive. Jesus ain't alive. Jesus ain't alive, man. My buddy is not alive. That's impossible. Well, I think this says that God does the impossible. God does the impossible. Jesus is alive and he is risen today. He is seated at the throne beside the Father. And so we know that he can do the impossible. What's to say about man? Is sometimes we are some stubborn folks. You see, Thomas wants to believe in Jesus the way he wants to believe in Jesus. He wants to see Jesus as this great person, this wonderful friend, this powerful person, but in the end, he's dead. He died. He won't believe the truth that has been presented to him. He wants to believe on his own terms who Jesus is, what Jesus has done. He wants to believe on his own terms. That's how mankind is. That's how we are. We want to do things on our own terms. We only want to believe and understand our own through our own senses and our own self. And it doesn't always work that way. It does not always work that way. So how do we apply these truths to our lives? Well, we're going to find the conclusion to this in the next couple of episodes, and we'll be able to further apply. But right now, I think it's important for us to realize that God does the impossible. God does the impossible. Like in your life right now, or if you're thinking there's something going on that there is no way that he can save or redeem or change or make better, well, guess what? God does the impossible. Things that we don't think are able to be done, carried out, he can do those things. But he does them on his terms. See, right now, Thomas is removed from the situation because he's doing things on his own terms. He didn't show up to the thing. Now he didn't believe the disciples when they saying that they saw Jesus. So we have to believe and trust in God to carry out his purpose so that he can do the impossible in our life. So if there's anything going on right now that you think that needs to be handled, that needs to be settled, first off, let's rely on the goodness of God to understand and know what it is that we need. But then secondly, know that he can do the impossible. That situation you're in is not the completion. It's the walkthrough. It's the journey. And I appreciate you guys for listening. And I'll see you in the next episode.